The last chapter of the textbook discusses government and how they make policy. Our learning outcomes, the objectives are discuss how governments exercise authority. And because United States have a democratic system, so we are going to briefly discuss the voting system and the political parties involved in this system. And we have to understand the policies are made to influence people's behavior. And in the second half of the lecture, we're going to just briefly look at some of the major policies governing the pollution control and the natural resource management. And the last, we are going to quickly take a look how countries join together to fight the environmental issues. In the absence of strong environmental laws and institutions, we will be unable to protect and restore our planet. So this message tells us we need laws and rules, just to tell people what to do, right? So making the laws is usually not an easy journey, and sometimes it takes a long time. Because of the industrial evolution, the pollution in the United States becomes very severe before some of the major environmental laws were made. And one person, this is an example, one person can influence this huge process. Dennis Hayes, after he graduated, he did an internship with Senator Nelson from Wisconsin. And he organized this Earth Day demonstration, which involved about 1,500 universities and 10,000 elementary and high schools in the United States. Wow. Look at how many people are going to the demonstration. This is a massive scale demonstration. Basically, they protest the air and the water qualities and overall environmental qualities, and urge the government to do something about it. And because of this influence, EPA was founded and start to make some of the very important environmental policies, such as Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, and Endangered Species Act. And it takes a long time, about a decade of efforts to make those laws. And so because of those laws, although it's made 50 years ago, but it's very effective and it's still valid today. Despite the efforts, Trump administration rolled back a lot of the policies, but I think that's just temporary. It's not going to be forever. And what his administration did was kind of halting the development in the history, and I think that is only temporary. So policies are decisions adopted by authority to influence behavior. Believe this, okay? So the goal of the policies, the laws, regulation that is made to influence humans' behavior. And the presidential election can change policies. And we just see that in the recent presidential election. And these two parties have distinguished different goals in many areas of development in this country. And the last thing I want to mention is this organization, the 350. They are formed to protest the recent climate change, okay, because we already surpassed the 350 ppm of the carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere, and our planet entering into this dangerous face of global warming. That's why those groups are made. Please go to the Times Magazine website to read this short article. And mainly, it tells us how Joe Biden won the election by focusing on the issue of climate change. He and his group made very aggressive plans for climate change. And I have some questions here for you to think about. And sometimes some people think it's no big deal, but actually it is a big deal. And according to the poll results, the percentage of American people concerning this issue greatly went up in the past few years. And there's a budget Joe Biden proposed to tackle this challenge. Of course, that's a lot of money, but if you don't do it, we suffer several times more. I'm only talking about financially. I'm not talking about economically. I'm not talking about some life and death threatening situation. Just talking about money. If we do not address this issue, we suffer much more loss. Okay, and to the contrary, EPA rolled back some of the important environmental policies, and this is ridiculous. Just for a few examples, we weakened the emission standards for major polluters, allow use of radioactive materials in road, this is a typo, sorry, in road construction, and roll back the regulation of the coal plant wastewater. This is just, I think this is, again, temporary, and this does not make sense at all. I just finished grading the environmental justice assignment, and some of you already the case studies. The wastewater discharge from the coal plants can poison people and cause cancers and serious health concerns for the low-income minority groups, right? And this is very disappointing. But I put this slide here to show you the leadership of the country plays a very important role in addressing environmental challenges. And governments can exercise their authority in multiple levels. It could be local level, the local government, or the state and the federal levels. I have a slide for you to view here about the mass transit, the highway construction, regulations regarding fuels and the vehicles, and the different levels of the government have different control over the same issue. And usually the federal level overrides the state level. U.S. government branches, there are very important three branches. One is called legislative, and it is Congress, U.S. Congress. The second level is executive, which is the president. Okay, the president have quite some power to enforce the law, and the judiciary, which is a court. So the federal court, presidency, and the Congress are very important institutions to access the power of the government. And the interesting here is each branch can exert influence over the activities of the other branches. It's called the checks and the balances. This is according to the U.S. Constitution. Right? When the country declared independence, there's this constitution written, and it's decided this is a democratic country. And the different branches, they exist and check and they influence each other. I'm going to talk about this in the next session of the lecture.